Welcome to This Explainer. Have you noticed how the little things used to just, bring such an incredible spark to your life? Like a new movie coming out, a random night out with your friends, or even just a text from someone you care about. You used to genuinely get excited. You actually waited for things, and you felt them deeply. But lately, do you kind of feel like those exact same things are just heavy? The jokes don't land the same. The movies are honestly just dull, and even though nothing on the outside has really changed, there's this weird, profound numbness. Just this quiet emptiness inside. Well, today we're going to unpack exactly why that is happening.
Why does everything feel so intensely boring? It's a question we literally whisper to ourselves, usually when we're alone in our rooms, bathed in that glowing blue light of our screens. And we try to rationalize it so fast, right? We tell ourselves, oh, maybe I've just changed, or I guess this is just what getting older feels like, or hey, everyone feels this way, don't they? But the truth we uncover in our source material today, it's a lot more uncomfortable. The problem isn't the world around you, and no, it's not some inevitable part of aging. The problem is actively growing right inside your own mind.
Okay, let's dive into this. Look at the stark contrast between how we used to be and where we are now. In the past, our baseline allowed for this genuine joy in simple, low-stimulation stuff. But today, we're endlessly scrolling. We literally consume more content in a single hour than our ancestors probably did in a whole week. And yet we feel completely emotionally flat and totally empty. To really grasp why this shift happened, we're going to look at a story. It's a remarkably common story that shows exactly how this whole thing just sneaks up on us.
Section 1. The silent disconnection.
So, to understand this shift, let's look at an anonymous proxy protagonist. We're just going to call him the boy, because honestly, his story could be about literally any one of us. So, his life was totally normal. He went to classes, hung out with friends, stayed up way too late watching shows, woke up late, the usual. He was happy. Or, he assumed he was. But then, this invisible shift started happening. He just felt a little more bored than usual. And how did he try to fix it? He did exactly what we all do. He injected way more digital noise into his day. Short-form videos, games, infinite scrolling, the whole shebang. The second a tiny moment of silence popped up, boom, phone out of the pocket. At first, it worked. It was fun. But within a few weeks, he realized something terrifying. The more entertainment he poured into his mind, the less he actually felt. He was completely empty, and he had absolutely no idea why.
And that brings us to the tragic irony of trying to fill every single silence. Our protagonist found himself sitting around with his friends one evening. Everyone's laughing, jokes are flying, and physically, he was right there in the room with them. He was even chuckling along, but internally, zero. He felt absolutely nothing. His body was basically reacting on autopilot, but his mind was utterly disconnected. He wasn't involved, he was just present. And without even a buzz or a notification to prompt him, he just kept checking his phone. The real world had just become way too slow for him.
Section 2. The illusion of boredom. Now, when we hit this wall of emotional flatness, we almost always try to self-diagnose, but we fall into this massive trap. The myth we tell ourselves is, man, I'm just lazy. I have zero motivation. I've completely lost my discipline. We totally beat ourselves up. But the reality drawn from the sources is wildly different, and honestly, it's highly reassuring. You aren't intrinsically broken. You're not lazy. Your brain is simply reacting to an overwhelming, artificially optimized system of constant stimulation. Your brain isn't failing you at all. It's actively rewiring itself to survive the crazy digital environment you've placed it in.
Because of this rewiring, your attention becomes deeply fragmented. Think about it. You start watching a movie, but you ditch it halfway through. You try to have a conversation, but you completely lose the thread. Your mind literally breaks into these tiny little pieces. We've conditioned our brains to expect a massive context switch every, 5 to 10 seconds? And because of that, real life, with all its natural pauses and slow moments, feels agonizingly slow. It makes the rapid-fire, fake stimulation of a screen dangerously attractive.
Section 3. Rewiring your dopamine baseline. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing what is physically happening inside our heads. It's not a character flaw, it's a total inversion of human biology. Historically, your brain released dopamine, the reward chemical, when you achieved something or built something or put in some real hard work. The ancient formula was effort, then reward. But look at this flipped loop mapped out for us here. Step 1, a simple swipe. Step 2, an instant massive dopamine reward. Step 3, absolutely zero effort was required. It's like you're getting the gold medal without ever running the race.
When your brain is faced with a choice, it is always going to optimize for efficiency. Just look at this comparison. A real conversation has awkward pauses, you actually have to actively listen, and the pacing is naturally pretty slow. But a short-form video? It's packed with perfect jump cuts, relentlessly high energy, and absolutely zero silence. Your brain compares the effort required for reality against the effortless high of digital content, and guess what? It artificially chooses the screen every single time.
And this brings us to a really critical redefinition. What you're feeling right now isn't actually boredom. The correct term for it is understimulation. Basically, your brain's baseline for what constitutes excitement has been artificially inflated so incredibly high by hyper-optimized content that the normal everyday world just fails to register on your radar anymore. Your brain is literally rejecting normal life because it's been trained to only respond to these massive extreme spikes.
So, the crucial point is this. Your brain is a highly adaptable survival machine. When it gets constantly bombarded with these unnatural dopamine spikes from endless scrolling, it goes into defensive mode. To protect itself from completely burning out, it lowers its own sensitivity. It actively dials down the receptors. And guys, this is the literal physiological root of your emotional numbness. This is exactly why things don't bring you joy anymore, and honestly why even sad things don't hurt as much. Your brain has physically numbed itself just to survive your screen habits.
Section 4. Tolerating the withdrawal. Okay, so being aware of the science is really just the starting line. The real, unromantic turning point came when our proxy protagonist found himself lying in bed late one night, in a pitch-black room. The screen was flashing, his thumb was swiping, but he suddenly realized he wasn't even processing a single thing he was looking at. Right there, in the quiet of his room, this profound moment of clarity hit him. He wasn't making choices. He realized, oh my gosh, I'm not in control, I'm just reacting. I'm completely on autopilot. And you know, once you realize you aren't choosing your actions, but merely reacting to an addictive system, you finally reclaim the power to make a real choice.
To break the cycle, the boy decided to just sit in his room for 10 minutes without his phone. Let's move to and see how this builds, because it is intensely physical. At 0 minutes, there's just silence. Okay, no big deal. By minute 2, there's this powerful, almost magnetic urge to grab the device. By minute 5, it peaks into severe physical discomfort and anxiety, like his heart rate actually sped up. But if you can hold out, by minute 10, the noise finally begins to settle, and this tiny sliver of clarity emerges.
We absolutely need to reframe that anxiety you feel when you're disconnected. That racing heart, that twitchy feeling in your hands. That is not boredom, my friends. That is a chemical withdrawal. Your brain is literally crying out for its cheap dopamine hit. You have to treat this just like quitting a physical substance. Tolerating this temporary, acute discomfort is the absolute necessary toll you must pay to reset your brain's baseline.
Section 5. Choosing to feel again.
So how do we rebuild without relying purely on raw willpower? Well, consider these low-friction system shifts to just design a better environment for yourself. Start charging your phone in another room so it's not the very first thing you grab when you wake up. Turn off all those non-essential notifications. Replace infinite scrolling with intentional watching. Choose a specific show or an explainer like this one, watch it, and then actually stop. Try limiting your social app checks to maybe twice a day. You aren't eliminating technology here, you're just systematically removing the constant access that leads to that mindless looping.
And when you actually maintain these systems, something truly beautiful starts to happen. It's a slow process for sure, but your focus returns, your brain's receptors literally heal. Suddenly, just taking a simple walk outside feels grounding. Listening to a piece of music brings actual emotion back to your chest. Real conversations with your friends regain their spark. You're not chasing some intense artificial high anymore. You are regaining a genuine, grounded connection to the beautiful reality of daily life.
Now, throughout this story, we've talked a lot about the boy. But let's be entirely honest here. The boy in this story is you. It's all of us. We are all making these unconscious choices every single day that just numb us to the world. A life of endless, effortless scrolling is incredibly easy, but ultimately, it's entirely empty. A meaningful life requires a little bit of friction, a little bit of silence, and yeah, a little bit of discomfort. You don't have to change your entire life today, but you do have to make a choice. Are you going to slide back into that easy, numb loop? Or will you take just 10 minutes today, put the device in another room, sit in the discomfort, and reclaim your mind? Let this become your active daily decision. I choose to feel again. Because the second you consciously choose to step into the quiet is the exact moment life stops being boring. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today.